यमुना तीरावनचारे नाम संकीर्तनम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Today we are reading from Canto 10, Chapter 54, entitled as Marriage of Krishna and Rukmini. Verse number is 45. 46, no? 47. 47. Text number is 47. We are reading. Janmadayastu dehasya vikriyanatmana kvachit kalanam iva naivendo mritirhi asya kuhur iva. Janmadayastu dehasya vikriyanatmana kvachit kalanam iva naivendo mritirhi asya kuhur iva. Janmadayastu dehasya vikriyanatmana kvachit kalanam iva naivendo mritirhi asya kuhur iva. Vikriyanatmana kvachit Janmadayastu dehasya vikriyanatmana kvachit kalanam iva naivendo mritirhi asya kuhur iva. Janmadayastu dehasya vikriyanatmana kvachit kalanam iva naivendo mritirhi asya kuhur iva. We are reading word to word meaning. Janmadaya, birth and so on. To, but. Dehasya, of the body. Vikriya, transformations. Na, not. Atmana, of the self. Kvachit, ever. Kalanam, of the faces. Iva, as. Na, not. Eva, indeed. Indo, of the moon. Mriti, the death. E, indeed. Asya, of it. Kuhu, the new moon. The new moon day. Iva, as. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, Abhay Charana Aravinda, Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. Birth and other transformations are undergone by the body, but never by the self. Just as the change occurs for the moon's phases, but never for the moon. Though the new moon day may be called the moon's death. Purport. Lord Balaram here explains how the conditioned souls identify with the body and how this identification should be given up. Certainly, every ordinary person considers himself or herself young, middle-aged or old, healthy or sick. But such identification is an illusion, just as the waxing and waning of the moon is an illusion. When we identify ourselves with the material body, we lose our power to understand the soul. Sorry, the prayers. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya De Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamsha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashatya Deshatari Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Tauratu Se Namah. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Nilachala Nivasaya Nityaya Paramatmane Balabhadra Subhadrabhyam Jagannathaya Te Namah. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namo. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda He Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavind. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Seeking blessings of all the devotees, especially says Acharya Prabhu, so that speak something from the Srimad Bhagavatam and this particular pastime which is going on. So this is a philosophical aspect which is going on here. How Balaram is trying to console Mother Rukmini, saying that the misidentification is the actual problem in our life. Yes. The birth and other transformations are undergone by the body but never by the self. So, of course, the Rukmini was put in that condition. So, Balaram is trying to console Mother Rukmini, and at the same time he was chastising Krishna also, saying that how can you do such things to relatives or the person whom is known. It should not be given such kind of punishment to that. And then he is explaining to Rukmini that how these all the transformations of these are all external. These are nothing to do with the soul. Just as the change occurs, and then the example is given of the moon, waxing and waning of the moon. It's not that the moon is actually going to that, but the vision gets covered up. Right? Our vision gets covered up. So Lord Balaram here explains in the purport we see how the conditioned souls identify with the body and how this identification should be given up. So actually this is the actual problem of the life, is that people misidentify with the body. That is the actual problem. See, certainly every ordinary person considers himself or herself young, middle-aged or old, healthy, sick. So these are all the identifications one considers. I'm a man or a woman, I'm old or young, middle-aged, I'm healthy now, I'm not well now. But such identification is an illusion. This is just an illusion, because the spirit soul is completely apart from these designations or upadhis which is being given here. Yeah. So that's we see even in the start of the Bhagavad Gita also, Krishna gives the same knowledge to Arjuna. When Arjuna was in the confused state that Krishna, I never want to fight now, because how can I kill? He gives the reasons that why I don't want to fight, because these are all my people. How can I kill my own people? It is if your guru is there or your grandfather is there, will you also kill? Yeah, Ugrasena is there or Sandipni Muni is there on the other side. Will you be ready to do? And you are telling me to fight? Yeah, so like that kind of argument Krishna was giving, Arjuna was giving to Krishna. And then he gives various other reasons also. There's almost like 4 to 5 questions he puts, that why I want to take the sin by killing so many people, unwanted progeny will be there, and I'm not able to take some decision. How can I enjoy the kingdom which is nobody is there? Right? And the first one is that how can I kill my own people? So that's why Krishna also, when he starts explaining, when Arjuna took that surrender of Sishyasteham Swadimam Tvam Prapannam, so we see that how Krishna starts speaking. And the first he removes this illusion which Arjuna, of course he was representing all of us, he removes this, Krishna first removes this illusion, right, saying that what you are speaking is like not worthy. Right? So it's like not that educated people or the learned people, Panditas will not speak like this. What you are mourning, which is not worthy of grief. So, so much of lamentation you are doing, but for the body you are doing all that, this is not expected from you. Yeah? Because every one of us exists always. Natveham jatunasham, natveham nanadvinjanadipaha. Always we were there, always we were existing. It's not that now you were there or earlier we were not there. All the time we were existing. And then how we change the body, just like here Balram, or in the purport it has been said that how the people consider young, middle-aged, right? Dehinosmin yata dehe, 𝐂𝐻𝐌𝐌𝐔𝐍𝐈𝐓𝐘. All the transformations happens on the bodily level. But the spirit soul is the same. Yeah. So Krishna removes the grief of Arjuna by giving this first understanding. Similarly here you see Balram also removing that grief of Rukmini, that putting in that condition, seeing his brother in that condition, removing her grief by speaking the same philosophy. Yeah, and the same thing we see even in Hiranyakashipu also speaking the same philosophy. Philosophy-wise everything was same. Yeah, but the conclusions were different of Hiranyakashipu. Yeah, Hiranyakashipu was also trying to console his mother and his the wife of Hiranyaksha. Yeah, explaining that how these all are temporary. Right? Anyhow, the soul is permanent. Why we are to lament about this body? Anyways, all of us have to give up the body. Right? Like that, Hiranyakashipu also spoke the same philosophy. So we see that any situations of which is not conducive or which are not accepted by the living entities, which are not in our favor, the philosophy of the soul is very illuminating and very satisfying to the jivas. Yeah, because this is the misidentification we all have been put into. And then because of this misidentification, we'll land up into so many complications. Yeah, first itself, the foundation itself is wrong. And we are constructing a building of 20 floors, 40 floors, right, 80 floors, 120 floors. The whole building will collapse. Right? So similarly, the identification or the conception of we are the material bodies is itself wrong. So that conception has to be given up. Yeah, till that time that conception is there, we become more and more entangled. Yeah, there's the same thing section we see even in the Hamsavatara prayers. We see that the same question which asked by the Kumaras also, that why it is that that material mind and the sense objects, it seems to be like they are so much of absorbed in both that it is difficult to give up. There is no, we are not able to separate it out. As soon as we see the sense objects, immediately we feel it's natural for us to get attracted to it. So the Kumaras ask that how a person who wants to be liberated or who wants to perfect his life in devotional service, how will he be able to give up this? Because naturally the senses are attracted to sense objects. Is it right or not? Anything we see in this world, we just get attracted. We see that it's very so difficult. Yeah, the tongue getting attracted to the halwa, it becomes natural. We cannot give it up. Right? The more we get, thoda sa aur, little more, little more. It's very difficult to give up. Till that time the bucket gets emptied and shows that no Prabhu, nothing is left now. Okay, now the mind decides, okay, anyways it's got over. It's naturally get attracted. So Kumaras are asking this question to their father Brahma, that how can somebody can overcome these attractions in this world. So that was the time where Brahma went into meditation, and he was not able to answer the question, because of course Brahma was himself into the three modes and in this world. So that was the time, in that meditation, Lord appears as Amsa. Of course, this conversation is going on between Krishna and Uddhava. You see in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna is speaking to Uddhava. Uddhava also asks the same question. That Krishna, it seems that the material of mind is attracted towards the sense objects and it's so difficult to give it up. So then Krishna says that the same question was asked by 4 Kumaras also to Brahma. So that time I appeared as Hamsa and then I spoke to them about why it is like that. Yeah, that comes in the 11th canto. I'll just read some lines from there. 11th canto, 13th chapter, verses text number is 25. Yeah, here he says, the Amsa, the Lord as Amsa Avatar is giving answers to the Kumaras. He says that, my dear sons, the mind has a natural proclivity to enter into the material sense objects, and similarly the sense objects enter into the mind. But both this material mind and the sense objects are merely designations that cover the spirit soul, who is the part and parcel of me. So the Lord is saying that how material mind and sense objects are mere designations that cover the spirit soul. These are the coverings on the body. So that's why we feel it as a natural, but the spirit soul has nothing to do. It's part and parcel of me. Right? In the purport, Sridhar Swami gives the commentary, the devotee, Srila Prabhupada disciples wrote. Srila Sridhar Swami points out that the symptoms of the material mind is the tendency to consider oneself to be the ultimate doer and enjoyer. Naturally, one with such a puffed up mentality is helplessly attracted by the sense objects. The problem is that one with a puffed up mentality, because the material mind naturally has this tendency that I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. Because the problem is the identification. I am the body, I want to enjoy this body, so how can I enjoy? Then immediately we get attracted to the sense objects. Yeah, the problem of it is the foundation, that the identification is wrong. That we are identifying with this body. One who considers himself to be the doer and enjoyer will be irresistibly attracted to the means for attaining sense gratification and false prestige, namely exploitation of material objects. So when one considers himself to be the enjoyer in the bodily conception, then we get naturally attracted to these sense objects. Then it will become very difficult to give it up. And down the lines, in this, when the mind or the senses are attracted to material enjoyment, the superior intelligence must immediately detect such illusion. So now the intelligence should play a role here. That intelligence should not make the mind or ourselves identify with the mind and the senses. In this way, one should purify one's mentality. By devotional service to the Lord, such detachment and intelligence automatically awaken. And by full understanding of one's original spiritual form, one is properly situated in eternal consciousness. Yeah, how to give up this is by engaging in the devotional service of the Lord. In the next purport also we see that the devotees, the Prabhupada disciple speaks about quoting Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and different acharyas that for oneself to give up this identification is extremely difficult. By himself, the living entity does not have the potency to give up his false identification with the material mind and sense objects. But by worshipping the Lord, in the mind, in the mood of being his eternal part and parcel servant, one is infused with Lord's potency, which easily drives away the darkness of ignorance. So here the solution is there, that how to give up this identification is by engaging in the devotional service. Because our own self, it is very difficult to overcome this. In the further purpose it comes that as soon as we identify with this material body, the modes are being empowered, the three modes are being empowered in such a way that we become completely absorbed in the material life. The modes make us completely absorbed in the false occupations. Yeah. So that people think that, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, that's why I don't get time for practicing Krishna consciousness. One round I can chant, or I can chant some names, some mantras in that 108, 54, compromisation it happens. Yeah. Because why? Because identification itself is wrong. That's why we don't have time for spiritual life. Yeah. The more we identify with this material body, or the material objects, right, on the false identification plane, then the spiritual life will become very, very difficult. Yeah, especially now the winter season is coming. Right, the early morning getting up is extremely difficult. Right, the mind senses are torturing us. It says that what is this torture? Why at all the acharyas have to put at 4:30 only? Can't it be at 4:30 evening morning program? So that is how, because of the misidentification. Yeah, the identification is so strongly rooted. The more we identify, the modes are more empowered to engage more and more in these things. Yeah, by our own self it is not possible, but by the grace of the Supreme Lord and the devotees we can overcome this false illusion. Give up this false identification, material mind and sense. But by worshipping the Lord, the mood of his being eternal part and parcel servant, one is infused with Lord's potency. Just the last one more, 28th verse, it speaks. Lord Krishna now specifically answers the question that the sages originally placed before Lord Brahma. Ultimately, the spirit soul has nothing to do with the material sense objects and the modes of nature. You see, actually we have nothing to do in this world. But अरे हम नहीं करेंगे तो कौन करेगा? मैं नहीं रहूँगा तो कौन करेगा इन लोगों को? कौन देखभाल करेगा? अरे आप जाने के बाद भी चलेगा? दुनिया रुक गया क्या? दुनिया कहीं रुकता नहीं है, दुनिया चलता रहता है. We are there or not there, it does not wait for us. Actually we have nothing to do in this world except doing devotional service to Krishna. But people think that except this they want to do everything, which is all useless. This is in the purport it's spoken, you see. But because of one's false identification with the material body, the modes of nature are empowered to engage one in the illusory occupations. Yeah, because of this false identification, modes are also empowered to engage in the false occupations. That's why they think that this is important, that is important. By destroying this false identification with the matter, the soul gives up the illusory occupations awarded by the modes of nature. Modes of nature awards us all these designations, false upadhis. Yeah. It is clearly stated in this verse that the living entity is not empowered to independently free himself from illusion. The living entity is not empowered to independently free himself from illusion. That's why it is said that a person, even on the spiritual platform, they may go up to the Brahma Jyoti also, still they fall down because they did not got the shelter of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. So living entity, individually if you want to overcome this Maya, very difficult. Daivi esha gunamayi mama maya duratya mam evai prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Right? To overcome Maya by our own strength, it's very difficult. But by devotional service to Krishna, we can overcome this. Right? Because the living entity is not empowered. Lord has not given that empowerment only, independently to do that. Under the shelter of the Lord only, we can overcome this Maya. But must situate himself in Krishna consciousness in full awareness of the Supreme Lord. When one situates in Krishna consciousness, then we can overcome it. Yeah, so this is the context of it spoken of how this false identification. And the false identification is actual problem. So false identification, how to overcome? By our own self, it is very difficult. But by engaging in devotional service, we can overcome it. Because the mind and the sense objects play such a role, right? And the three modes are empowered to do us engage in the false occupations. Right? So it is practically like a kind of impossibility for the jiva to give up himself this false identification. But when he engages in the devotional service to Krishna, we can overcome. Mam yoga vicharena, ave vicharena, bhakti yogena sevate, sa gunan samatitya itan. All the gunas, we can overcome the three modes when we engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Otherwise, we become more and more absorbed in these material occupations, material things. Right? The more we increase the devotional service, the more we can come out of these false identifications. Yeah. So that's why Srila Prabhupada has arranged such a wonderful devotional service, so many items in the devotional service. Because every jiva is an individual being, and he wants individually different ways he wants to serve the Lord. So Srila Prabhupada also designed the different ways, right, about devotional service. Yeah, in that now of course we are all going through this book distribution marathon which is happening, right, which is just 2 days are left out, today and tomorrow, for the Gita Jayanti. So book distribution is a very wonderful service to Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas. It's not that we are the first beings who are starting this book distribution, or just that way. So we see that how the Shri Srintai Gauranga Bhagwan ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So the service of book distribution, we see even the three great souls, right? Narottam Das Thakur, Shyamanand Pandit, and Srinivas Acharya, right? Three of them, they also used to do book distribution, and that's how they send the reports to Jiva Goswami. Earlier time we got that one email of how the Narottam Das Thakur and all the acharyas have sent this many Bhagavad Gitas we have sold, this many Upadeshamrits, this many nectar of devotion, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu have been sold. So we see that time, of course, that was very difficult, that time to sell one book, right? For us now, we get from BBT and then we sell it and we come back and then we'll take one more or take 100 more and then distribute it. For that time they have to write the books and they have to distribute it. Yeah, 10 sold means 10 written and 10 sold. They have to write it, make a copy of it, and then they have to sell it. That time there were no printing presses and all that. So we see that how these acharyas, they have so much of endeavors for spreading the knowledge of Krishna consciousness, and how they used to serve their spiritual masters through this book distribution. Yeah. And the same thing which Srila Prabhupada also got and given us, to engage our mind and senses in devotional service, because we want to do something tangible, practical. Yeah, so the book distribution is very nourishing, absorbing in devotional service, because when you go for book distribution, constantly we have to pray. Yeah, no, it does not work like your skills will make the people take Bhagavad Gita. No. Nobody will see also towards you. But you constantly keep praying. Till the time the person takes the book, you keep praying to it. Right? In the Paramatma, in the heart, Lord, please inspire him, so that he should take the book. Right? So it's a constant meditation, it goes on. Right? One book sold. Right? How Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur used to be so happy. Once the devotee came and he was upset that only one paper or one patrika has been sold. Throughout the day he went out and distributed one patrika or one book. But when he came back, Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur was so happy that one soul has been delivered from this world. So that was the consciousness. Just 2 days back we were hearing in Brahmachari class, Srila Prabhupada was telling that one verse if they read, if they touch the book, their life will be changed. So we see that how these books are not ordinary. And these are going to create a transformation in the lives of the people. Now we see that how the material world is going. When people are becoming no more than animals. Yeah, we see here the news, it is so alarming that how can people behave like this? Yeah, the news of the Delhi case, we hear it, how we feel that a person even has a common human being sense, how can he do such kind of activity? Yeah. And even in the, now the most alarming thing in the Telangana government is that how the women are killing their husbands because of their having their external affairs with their boyfriend or something. There becomes so much of news that now they want to do a research what's actually is happening. It has become a very great news in the government. Right? And we all know previously about how the drug addiction has become to such an extent it went. And the youths are the people who are most addicted to this drug addiction. So you see the world, how it's going around, it's a time for us to go out and distribute these books. At least people become some human sense. At least they develop some human being sense. It's not about something about religion or Hindu dharma or something like that. That's the other way around. But basic morals, values, people have lost it. That's what the Bhagavad Gita is teaching them. Yeah, Bhagavad Gita teaches to that. So it's a responsibility as a devotee, right? We want to preserve the culture, we have to propagate the culture. Yeah, it's repeatedly said. Preserve the culture, propagate the culture. Keep propagating the culture, then the preservation of the culture will happen. If we don't do it, then this all kind of demonic people keep increasing in this world. So that's why this is a very wonderful opportunity for us. Wonderful opportunity to engage in the devotional service. Right? And then the first conception itself that all the illusions of the people are removed when they read the Bhagavad Gita as it is. That the false illusions which they are holding on to the bodily conceptions, and we see that how they end up doing such kind of nonsensical activities. Not even knowing that how it is affecting them or how it is affecting the people, or is there any kind of pain in others. That is all forgotten by the people. Yeah, the more and more degradation is happening. Yeah, so it is a very wonderful opportunity that we are very close, and this is a month of book marathon, which we can please Srila Prabhupada, and especially now by the time the children, when they come back to the engineering college, they are off spoiled. Yeah, by the time they come to engineering college means they have seen everything. Right? You go for giving device sessions, you tell about morals, values. Then everybody, nowadays you see, in a 120 people of a device class, you see that 5 to 6 people have become slaves of this wrong habits and wrong things. And nowadays it's a common thing. Prabhu, we have a girlfriend, or Prabhu, we have done something wrong. We have already seen in our schools, colleges. Yeah. One of the students, I was talking to him, he's just studying engineering first year. He was telling that, Prabhu, by the time I came to 11th, 12th, I have seen everything through the mobile. My friends have become like addicts. And to such an extent that one of my friend got into IIT Kharagpur. He got some other place also, but he chose IIT Kharagpur. It's not that because IIT Kharagpur is a very good campus or it's very close to his house. No. Because Calcutta is very near. Do you understand why Calcutta is near? Because he can go for prostitution on Saturday and Sunday. He said, and I was shocked to hear, he was saying that that's what that person, that my friend is doing. He selected Kharagpur because of that. It was very shocking to hear that how can people can do such kind of things. Yeah, so this is what our education systems are teaching. If we don't educate our children, in the sense the books are not given to the school's children, then by the time they come to 11, 12, they are gone, they are spoiled. Especially externally, they may say now, people in the name of government, secular government, this government, that government, what you will do with that? Right? Now the government is crying that, parents are crying, please do something about my children. It's a very hot topic in Telangana now. It's please do something about our children, that they are so much addicted to drugs. They steal all the money from the home and they take the drugs. Openly they took, and crores of the rupees worth of the drugs have been burnt off. They shown a video and then news has been said. Right? Crores of rupees. Right? The police and all were caught. And now it's made a strict law. Whoever is taking, whoever is selling, whoever is seen all with these things, right, put in the jail. There is no bail for it. That's a strict law they made it. Why? First, if you teach the people values through this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and all, then we don't see that it is not going to see that our children or our people or our friends will not be addicted to these things. So it's a need of the hour that we spread this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. Yeah. So some take it, some don't take it, but we don't worry about it. We keep doing our service. Yeah, because Acharyas will be very pleased that when we go out and distribute the books, we get the results or not, but the Acharyas will be extremely happy with that, our service. Right? And it's a very wonderful absorbing service, book distribution. Right? Earlier time, all devotees have the experience. Right? Our Sri Narsimha Prabhu, Govind Ghosh Prabhu, the Howrah stations, right? Maharaj Prabhu. We all used to go to Howrah station early morning, 7:30. Right? One of the Gita Jayanti's time. Early morning, 7:30 to night 9:30. Right? Almost like how much? 400 plus Bhagavad Gitas were distributed one day. So absorbing, you know. Huh? 2000 Bhagavad Gitas in that whole new place of Howrah subway. We have been distributed, devotees. Absorption, so much absorption that you don't feel like hungry also. You don't know when you took prasad also. Right? The chapatis, prasadam were taken, but we don't know when we eat. Right? 2 days back, Vrindavan was telling that they took prasadam, but when he came back, I asked that you did not took prasad, you took all chapatis, and I said that we were in so much of anxiety how to distribute these books that we don't feel like when the time got over. And so of course, we come out of the bodily conception also. Yeah, definitely we have to take care of our health also, so that otherwise other consequences may happen. But it's so absorbing, once in a while we should do it, so that we can come out of our comfortable zone, and what is spoken, the philosophy, it will be a realization for us. Yes, we are not on this bodily conception, and when we serve the Lord, we feel so happy by doing this book distribution. Right? So especially, of course, collecting sponsorships also, it's a thing, but one-to-one relationship, when you talk with the people, when you distribute the books, their experiences, and when one book is taken, how happy you feel about it. Right? At least one book we have given, so how Acharyas will be so pleased with this. Right? So it's a very satisfying experience of it, very wonderful service. Of course, many other services are also there, of serving the Lord, deities, cooking for the Lord, right? Preaching, going out and preaching for the Lord. Right? All these are also there. But now it's a time for us to go out and distribute this Srila Prabhupada books, Srimad Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Right? Of course, for us, things are already there, arranged for us, because the government is favorable in that extent, and already ISKCON name, Bhagavad Gita's name went so high that you have to just go and give it. People are ready to take it up. Whenever people meet, they'll ask that, oh, you are connected to same person as Gaur Gopal Das? Like that they ask, and that, yeah, yes. So the off preaching is done, then you do the remaining thing that, okay, please take this Bhagavad Gita and then this. Right? And then even Lal Govind Prabhu is also very famous. Right? One of the trains we were traveling, I was talking to one person, he was saying that I hear all lectures, and then I thought that some other lectures he will hear. And he played Lal Govind Prabhu's lecture and he's showing. This lecture, he speaks so nicely, so attractive it is, and then he was telling that how I get attracted to it. Yeah, definitely the devotees are doing their work, and we do our work of further making them streamlined in Krishna consciousness, yeah, and then making their life very wonderful. So already so many devotees are already set up the base for us. We go out and Srila Prabhupada has already given these books. Prabhupada worked so hard to get these books out so that we all could benefited, right? With the suffering conditioned souls in this world could get benefited by reading these books, right? So as this philosophy, you see, even Balaram is speaking to Rukmini also to console. Of course, Rukmini knows all the knowledge also, right? But Balaram is speaking to console her. And Krishna spoke to Arjuna to console him. Yeah. Even Hiranyakashipu spoke to console his mother and the wife of Hiranyaksha. So we see that this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, as we are the spirit souls, and giving up this false identification, we are going to console every jiva, every living entity. Because of the false identification only, people take up so many occupations, false occupations. This I have to do, that I have to do, and the modes are also empowered to do or engage the people in the wrong conceptions, and they become so absorbed in the material conceptions of life, right, that they don't have time, right? You see that we don't have time for reading these books, right? And they engage the mind becomes so absorbed in material things. People say that when we go to old age we will do all that, but once the age passes, the mind becomes so absorbed in material things that it becomes so difficult for them to take out. One round of chanting also will become so difficult. People become old. They know that they are going to die, right? But still they cannot fully take shelter of the Lord. But we are so fortunate that at this age, right, of very young age, we all got this Krishna consciousness. So once now we fixed up our mind absorbed in Krishna, right, and the activity is service to Krishna, we feel so happy. In any situation of life we can become happy. We don't have to lament about it, that oh, this is not there, that is not there, because old age is going to give so many of the troubles and difficulties. So it becomes very difficult. Once recently I was meeting in my home one of the person. I was seeing that my cousin brother's father he left the body. Right? I went to the final rites and all these things. Right? Just it's become like another kind of a routine for them. They went, they just did the last rites and came back to the home, and then all were in the different world only after that. Right? And especially people nowadays are so much absorbed in drinking and eating. They should get some event, and they are saying that this is the event they got to do all that, their enjoyment mentality. So they are saying this from the third day itself. I was telling to my brother was going to help them out because he is a cousin brother. So my brother was saying that from third day onwards everything will start now. Right? Till 10 days they will all eat, drink wine, eat non-veg, everything they will do. It's a celebration for them. They see there's some opportunity. I said that somebody has died here. Their father, their uncle has died, but people are not worried much about it. We are there, we should eat nicely, we should drink nicely. That's how their whole conception people have become developed into. So much of mind becomes so much of, made them so foolish that they are not able to understand the reality only. So that is what the condition mind makes us. So, but at the right age we all have got, we are giving training to our mind to engage in the devotional service, right, to understand this conception of life. Trouble will be there during practice, troubles will be there. Right? It's not that in the practice time troubles will not be there. Trouble will be there, but this is a reality. When we get stick to it, we can become happy in our life. And then we distribute this knowledge to all the people who are connected to us or to the whole world. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. earlier was his son came. But it was been initially also he was connected. Telling that this is what the condition is. Schools only were spoiled. Celebrate means that's okay. I think that people come there, they have feed them nicely, so they feed wine. Forget they want to just celebrate. All came together, so